I shouldn't tell people that I did stand-up because then they want to know what I did. And
I want to know what you did.
I want to...
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 actors you didn't know started in stand-up.
You started as a stand-up comic?
Well, I wouldn't call it my career.
For this list, we'll be looking at actors whose previous careers as stand-up comedians you might not be aware of. Which of these actors would you want to see do stand-up the most? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Ed Helms. Ed Helms' excellent comedic timing has been highlighted in popular shows like The Office and the Hangover movies, as well as in his time as a Daily Show correspondent.
Water Turtle Festival gives the exact meaning of what the animal is.
We don't want that.
No.
This was a skill he developed over time doing stand-up comedy in New York City before getting the Daily Show gig.
I was a lifeguard. Yeah, I know. You can tell by my physique.
Helms also studied improv with the renowned Upright Citizens Brigade and wrote and performed in various sketch groups around the Big Apple. He's even spoken about performing with another then up-and-coming comic who later became a movie star. Does the name Kevin Hart ring any bells?
For how long have you known each other?
So Kevin and I weirdly go way back. He's one of the first fellow comedians I knew when I first started doing stand-up.
Number 9. Simon Pegg. Mention Simon Pegg around a comedy fan, and they're sure to start quoting one of his movies.
She's so drunk.
But before Pegg was making audiences around the world crack up in Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, he was developing his comedic chops on his home turf of England.
What they've done is they've invented an anti-student cone, yeah, which explodes, right, when it detects the smell of Marmite.
Pegg studied theater and wanted to become a dramatic actor, but he found he excelled in comedy and soon built up an impressive resume, eventually landing roles in multiple blockbuster franchises. Would this young comedian have ever imagined he would one day appear in both Star Wars and Star Trek movies?
Enterprise, can you hear me?
Scotty!
Guess what I found behind Jupiter?
Number 8. Billy Connolly. You might know Billy Connolly as an actor for his memorable work in films like The Boondock Saints and Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Just this morning I was wondering, how are we all going to get out of town together? And I thought, Peru. They have snakes in Peru, don't they?
But the Scottish actor is also considered one of the best stand-up comedians in the history of the UK, with public television network Channel 4 naming him as the greatest of all time. Connolly's comedy pushes the boundaries of good taste, and his stage presence is impossible to imitate.
But when I get guests, it's usually Americans, they want to sleep in the turret rooms, you know, the round, the sort of where you hang out the window. Help! Help!
While Connolly, known to fans as the Big Yin, retired from stand-up in 2018, his status as a legend of comedy was cemented long before then.
Oh, another thing to watch out for is anybody who says a certain energy, slap them in the face.
Number 7. Eric Bana. Eric Bana tends to bring dramatic intensity to already serious movies like Hulk, Troy, and Munich. So it's a little surprising to hear the Australian actor got his showbiz start as a stand-up comedian.
Did stand-up come naturally to you?
It came out of desperation, and it was...
Bana would do stand-up at pubs while getting by as a bartender and waiter. Eventually, he was cast in Full Frontal, a popular sketch show that led to his own short-lived series, The Eric Bana Show Live.
Well, Tommy won't be coming back to school. He's dead as a dodo. That ain't cool.
A major career shift happened when he was cast in the dramatic biopic Chopper about a notorious convict. A few years later, he was playing one of Marvel's most famous characters. Can we call him Bruce Bana?
Me está enojando. No le gustaría verme enojado.
Number 6. Bette Midler. Bette Midler is one of the rare performers to earn acclaim as both a singer and an actor. So it's not a surprise to learn she also excelled in stand-up.
Louis turned to Ernie. Say, what's Soph got on today? I don't know, says Ernie, but it sure needs ironing.
Although Midler had acted on stage for years, including a role in Fiddler on the Roof on Broadway, she found her career in a dry spot. So, she switched to stand-up, with dynamic performances that also highlighted her acting and singing abilities. In time, she was a best-selling musician and an Oscar-nominated actor, with dramas like The Rose and comedies like Hocus Pocus on her resume.
children alive have all been cursed because of all the witches working. And the worst.
Talk about hitting all the right notes.
You are the wind beneath my wings.
Number 5. Ron Perlman. On shows like Sons of Anarchy and in movies like Drive, Ron Perlman plays characters you don't want to mess with.
You discuss this with anybody else?
No, just you.
You're not very good at this, are you?
Even Hellboy, as lovable as he is super tough as well as sensitive. Those traits might come naturally to the actor, or he might have honed them in his previous gig, stand-up comedian. Before being recognized as an actor, Perlman had a comedy act with a friend, which involved ripping off material from comedians like George Carlin.
My two favorite comedians were George Carlin and Henny Youngman. So when we would perform at old people's homes, we would do all of the George Carlin stuff, and they would go, "Ah, that's so original. I never heard that. That's fantastic."
Plagiarism is a big no-no when it comes to comedy, so it's good that Perlman was able to find success as himself, not someone else.
And that was the end of my comedy career.
Number 4. Emma Thompson. Emma Thompson's involvement in a movie instantly makes it feel classier.
And in fact, my daughter is in the audience tonight. Yeah. To her, I'd just like to say, sorry.
That's why it's surprising to learn Thompson's first ambition was to become a stand-up comedian, like her hero Lily Tomlin. In college, she was a member of the Footlights comedy troupe alongside Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie, and the comedy world was even more difficult for a woman to break into then. However, Thompson was able to book many gigs with mixed results.
Yeah, I know the stereo's yours, but I mean, you left that. But I mean, it's not much good without the speakers, right? And they're mine.
While she continued doing comedy on television, she later found worldwide acclaim as a screenwriter and dramatic actor. We're glad Thompson had the sense and sensibility to fully explore her talents.
The sooner she becomes acquainted with the ways of the world, the better.
Number 3. Steve Buscemi. Can you name anything that hasn't been improved by Steve Buscemi's presence? Before he was turning in amazing work in Fargo and The Sopranos, Buscemi tried to make it as a comedian in New York City.
Besides being, a great actor, you were also a stand-up comedian briefly?
Very briefly.
Though he had acting dreams, he decided to try stand-up as a route to acting jobs. Buscemi has described his stand-up style as unique, with a good dose of self-deprecating humor.
I was very skinny, and I used to, sometimes I would even take my shirt off and pretend I was like a muscle guy.
Yeah.
That got some laughs.
While Buscemi might not have had the chops to make stand-up a full-time career, he's shown incredible range as an actor, with excellent work in both comedies and dramas.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
Number 2. Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx's natural charisma made us believe he was actually Ray Charles, and earned him an Oscar, among many other acting achievements.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, Dad is out of sight. That's a hit.
Foxx had a flair for performance early in his life, telling jokes to his school friends.
So when I go to school, I get in trouble for making jokes and stuff like that. So my teacher, Miss Reeves, God bless, I don't know where she is, but every Friday she would say, listen, you keep getting in trouble. I'm gonna let you do jokes every Friday for the class, so that way you don't get kicked out of school.
He started doing stand-up sets in his 20s and parlayed his success at open mics to joining the sketch comedy show In Living Color, and eventually landing his own sitcom.
You wanna go where? Well, I'm gonna take you back old school.
This, of course, was followed by massive movie stardom. Fun fact, the man, born Eric Marlon Bishop, chose the name Jamie Foxx due to female comedians being given priority at stand-up shows.
So I wrote on the list, because you have to write on the list, I wrote unisex names: Tracy Brown, Stacey Green, Jamie Foxx. Right?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton may be famous for playing Batman, but before that, he was something of a joker.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What?
Before movie stardom, Keaton found work acting in theater and TV. He also did stand-up to help pay the bills.
This is true. I played 2 places, or I didn't even play, I just kind of showed up. Didn't even have microphones. I'm not lying, no microphone. You just kind of talk to people.
In a few years, Keaton went from making audiences laugh in comedy clubs to making them laugh in movie theaters, with roles in hits like Night Shift and Mr. Mom.
You want some chili?
No, thanks. His energy also got him cast as the title character in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, which of course led to him playing the Caped Crusader himself. Keaton might not speak that positively of his comedy career, but what we've seen of it captures that classic Keaton charisma we all know and love.
Thanks a lot. Have a good time tonight.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.